thanks again for being here. I will. So with that, I'd like to introduce and give the floor to Ambassador Charles Paul, who, as I mentioned, is with the Embassy of the Republic of the Marshall Islands in Washington, D.C. Ambassador, thank you.
Should I stand right here? Or?
Yes.
Oh, you can stand anywhere you want.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you, sir.
Welcome to St. Mary.
Thank you very much. Thank you so much. Good evening, everyone.
Good evening, sir.
Before I had some, to be honest, I didn't know I was supposed to speak tonight, but the great mayor invited me to speak tonight. So I have some notes that I put together, and so here we are. Thank you so much. Mr. Mayor, thank you, sir. Mr. President, thank you. Members of this honorable and esteemed council, great people of the city of St. Mary's. Thank you so much for hosting me this evening, giving me the opportunity to address this honorable body. It goes without saying that every time I'm given an opportunity to speak to elected officials, I take that opportunity. And again, once again, thank you so much. Before I continue, I want to also thank all the veterans for the sacrifices that they've made, answering the call to defend the values that we all aspire to have. Congratulations to the city of St. Mary's for this beautiful new building. And I'm extremely honored to be one of the very first few to speak before this council in this new building. So thank you very much. I wanted to bring some warm greetings of Yahweh from the people and the government of the Republic of the Marshall Islands. As the mayor mentioned, my name is Charles Paul. I'm the personal representative and the ambassador of the Republic of the Marshall Islands to Washington, D.C. And the purpose of my trip is twofold. One is to support the Marshallese community that resides amongst this community in St. Mary's, as well as the surrounding cities of Salina and others. The community is hurting because of certain discourse. But I wanted to show the people of the Marshallese people here that we have their backs. And I personally felt, and the government felt, that it was necessary for me to venture all the way to Ohio to come visit you all. So thank you very much. And thank you very much for hosting our communities here in Ohio. And the second part of my trip is to build bridges. Introduce the Marshallese community. Here with me is also some of the members of the Marshallese community that have taken the time to come to this meeting. We have pastors, we have just members of the general public, including the OHMC, which stands for the Ohio Marshallese Community. And you will note that they put the name Ohio before they put the Marshallese community. And the reason for that is to show their pride in the Buckeye State. So I have Lydia, who's the executive director, and the chairman and the vice chairman for the OHMC. It's a 501c3 organization, a nonprofit organization, and their mandate is to facilitate discussions and provide services to the Marshallese communities as they try to assimilate to Ohio. So how did we get here? Maybe that's in some people's minds. How did the people from the Central Pacific end up in beautiful Ohio? If I may do a quick history of the Marshall Islands. Now, it really doesn't do justice because I'm doing a quick history, abbreviated history, because the Marshallese history and traditions and cultures have spanned for thousands and thousands of years. Considered some of the best navigators in the world, where they could easily use the stars and the waves to know exactly where they are in the vast Pacific and point to a specific island and just sail and get to it. And today we use the GPS. Back then we used to have a map, the original GPS, that showed the waves and how the stars aligned and things of that nature. So again, abbreviated. And I want to start between World War I and World War II. During World War I and World War II, we were occupied by Imperial Japan. And when the US Marines liberated the Pacific, one of the biggest battles was the Battle of Kwajalein, which every war historian knows that Battle of Kwajalein was one of the toughest and bloodiest wars that American service members and Marshallese suffered in the liberation of the islands. It was at that moment that our relationship was forged in blood, and it's carried on to this day. After the war, the Marshall Islands became a trust territory of the United Nations, administered by the US. Now, for practical purposes, the US administered the Marshall Islands just as if they administered other US territories, like Guam, CNMI, Puerto Rico, the US Virgin Islands, American Samoa. And this arrangement continued to when we became independent in 1986 by virtue of the Compact of Free Association. And that is the agreement that is between the two countries, the United States and the Marshall Islands, that allows Marshallese to be able to migrate to the United States. With that agreement, the U.S. controls our vast land, air, and sea for strategic defense purposes. The Marshall Islands host the Ronald Reagan, let me just get this right, the Ronald Reagan Ballistic Missile Defense Site, SMDC, which is part of the Space Missile Program. And in lieu of that, our citizens can migrate to the United States, and they can serve in the U.S. military as part of the agreement. So our legal status here in the United States was created under the compact. There's no other legal status like the legal status that we enjoy anywhere else in the world with the United States. And that legal status is legal non-immigrant. So it's legal, but we're non-immigrants. The lawyers would have to explain that, because I've tried to wrestle with it in my mind, but somehow it works. So who are the Marshallese? So Marshallese in general are law-abiding, God-fearing, kind people. It's within our nature. Non-confrontational and very kind. The Marshall Islands has some of the lowest crime rates in the world, and I want to thank the mayor for pointing that out, because it's one of those talking points that I've lost as I've been doing this, due to everyone knowing each other. It's like St. Mary's, it's a small place, everyone knows everyone. So virtually no crimes. And traditionally and culturally, the extended family is a huge safety net for the Marshallese population, the Marshallese culture. So, and I was explaining to the mayor earlier, if I have a distant cousin that I might not have met before, but because they're family, they're family. So, that is the Marshall Islands in a nutshell. Now, the Hawaii Marshallese community is a microcosm of the Marshall Islands in general. And it's the same in whether it's in Arkansas or in Honolulu, Hawaii, or any other part of the United States. There are approximately around 4,000 or 5,000 Marshallese that live amongst us in Ohio. They work manufacturing jobs in the food industry. Even some are small business owners. They pay taxes. They follow the laws, just like anyone else. And as I mentioned earlier, one of the benefits of this compact is our citizens having the ability to join the U.S. Armed Forces. And the Marshallese population has some of the highest rates per capita in joining the U.S. Armed Forces. In fact, some of 7 or 8 of our citizens that live around Salina, St. Mary's, they're recruited into the military from the diaspora here, as well as 2 or 3 are in active reserve. And of course, it's fitting to have this meeting here today on Veterans Day. So with that, I want to, again, offer my thanks to the Marshallese and the American veterans for all that they've done. If anything, as I mentioned, I'm here to build bridges. I'm here to offer my office, my government, as a resource to the mayor, to the good council, and the good people of the city of St. Mary's. As we build, as a resource, as we build bridges, understand one another, and foster neighborly grace amongst each other. And as the mayor mentioned earlier, new building, new opportunities, and look towards the future. With that, with those very short remarks, Mr. Mayor, Mr. President, members of the esteemed council, and the good people of St. Mary's, Pomo Dada, and thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Ambassador. My personal opinion is to the people of the Marshall Islands, welcome. I hope you make this your home.